Hello. You may be wondering to yourself right now, what am I doing here? What am I watching? I don't know. I don't know either. However, we don't need to worry about that with this video sponsor, Liquid Death. I love my canned water. What do you mean the video is not sponsored by them? What are we even doing here? I'm leaving. Oh, I think I broke my toe. That means I broke a bone. And a bone is part of the skeletal system.
The skeleton of a human has many parts. As a baby, we are born with around 300 bones. As we age, these bones grow and fuse into about 206 bones. There's some variation in both of these numbers, as some people have different numbers of teeth, ribs, vertebrae, etc. The human skeleton is comprised of the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton is made of the skull, the ossicles, the hyoid, the thoracic cage, and the spinal or vertebral column. The skull is made of multiple bones. It supports facial structures, provides attachment sites for muscles, and protects the brain. The ossicles are bones in the middle of the ear that transmit sound to the cochlea. The ossicles are made of a malleus bone, an incus bone, and a stape bone, one in each ear. The hyoid is a free-floating bone below the jaw or mandible and in front of the throat. It acts as a strong, movable base for the tongue. The thoracic cage surrounds and protects internal organs. It is made of the ribs, sternum, costal cartilage, and thoracic vertebrae. The vertebral column protects the spinal cord, supports the head, and has attachment sites for the muscles of the head, neck, and back. The vertebral column is made of 26 bones, 24 of which are vertebrae. The other two bones are the sacrum and coccyx, which are found near the pelvic girdle. The appendicular skeleton is made of the pectoral girdle, arms, hands, pelvic girdle, legs, and feet. The pectoral girdle serves to attach the arms to the upper body and to transmit force from the arms to the body. The pelvic girdle bears the weight of the body and attaches the legs to the body. The pelvic girdle and the bones of the legs and feet are thicker and stronger than their upper body counterparts, as they again bear the weight of the entire body and are responsible for locomotion. The skeletal system is very important when it comes to functioning as a human. It serves important roles like acting as a support system for the body, allowing us to move, store lipids and minerals, protect internal organs, and produce blood cells. So, how does the skeletal system allow for movements? Well, things need to be connected. For example, bone needs to be connected to bone, and muscle needs to be connected to bone. There are two types of connective tissue for bones. There are tendons and ligaments. Tendons connect skeletal muscle to bone. They are made of strong, fibrous cords. Tendons allow for muscles to pull on bones, which allows us to move parts of our body. The strongest and thickest tendon is the Achilles tendon, found in the back of the leg. Ligaments connect bones together. They are made of fibrous connective tissue. Ligaments hold structures together and stabilize those same structures. The strongest ligaments are found in the hips. Now for joints. First, synovial joints. Synovial joints are unique as they have space between the bones that they connect. That space or cavity is filled with fluid that helps reduce the friction of movement and lubricate the joints. Synovial joints are surrounded by a capsule to keep everything together. The ends of the bones in synovial joints are also covered in cartilage. Synovial joints allow for a wide range of movement. Examples of this joint include elbows, shoulders, and knees. Cartilaginous joints, as the name implies, are joints where the bones are connected through cartilage. This joint, since there is no space between the cartilage and the bone, does not allow for very much movement. However, there is still a little bit. The best example of cartilaginous joints are the joints between vertebrae, where that little bit of movement that is allowed helps the entire spine to stay strong, flexible, and absorb shocks from moving. Fibrous joints. These joints connect bones together through fibrous connective tissue. This means that there is no space between the bones, so these joints do not allow for a lot of movement, if any at all. These joints are found between the bones of the skull, as shown on the screen, and between teeth and their sockets. The fontanelles that you see are membranes that fill in the gaps of the skull. These fontanelles are gone by the time you're 18 months for the large one, and 2 months for that smaller one that is triangularly shaped. But these fontanelles are important for skull flexibility as an infant. That flexibility allows for the skull of an infant to more easily fit through the birth canal. Next up for the skeletal system are the cells. There are a lot of bone cells that each have their unique functions. Osteogenic cells, also called osteoprogenitor cells, are squamous-shaped cells that are also stem cells. These are very important for bone growth and repair. Osteoblasts are found on a bone surface where there is active bone formation and are sort of cube-shaped. They are responsible for synthesizing the components of the extracellular matrix of bone and promoting bone mineralization. Osteoclasts break down and degrade bone in order to allow for remodeling, maintenance, and repair. Osteocytes and their dendrite-like processes or extensions are simply osteoblasts that are incorporated into and surrounded by the bone matrix. Since they are essentially osteoblasts with a different shape, they regulate the chemistry of the bone matrix and mineral deposition. Chondrocytes are the only cells found in healthy cartilage. They produce and maintain the cartilaginous matrix, which consists mostly of collagen and proteoglycans. Next up is bone marrow. Bone marrow comes in two primary types that each have their own unique functions. Yellow marrow is found with long bones only, meaning the appendicular skeleton. Yellow bone marrow stores fat and contains stem cells. It can also convert to red marrow if the need arises due to infection or major blood loss. Red bone marrow is also called spongy bone. This type of bone marrow makes almost all the red blood cells and 60 to 70% of white blood cells. In adults, red marrow is primarily found in the vertebrae, ribs, hips, breastbone, skull, and at the ends of the long bones in the arms and legs. In children, yellow marrow starts off as red marrow, but slowly gets converted into yellow marrow as they age.